I guess we're going to need a part 3 to NBC Revolutions. And let me clear this up to you. This is a video about what would happen if NBC Revolutions was a real thing. Okay? Obviously it's not, but if it was, what would really happen? Okay? And I got this comment from Valor Kungan. And he says, the airplanes would count for 0.0000001% of the human population. He said there's 1 billion people living without electricity right now in Africa, Asia, South America. Even the Amish in the States would be fine. And then he proceeds to say, I am a retard and I need to be kept away from computers. Time to respond. First of all, I don't like being insulted, as you can plainly see. If you insult me bad enough, I just flat out take off your comment and then I block you. But in your case, I will go ahead and respond. You need a response. Right now, over the skies of the United States, there are 6,000 commercial aircraft. Now, I'm not worried about the people inside of them. We all know they're all going to die. Instantly. Electricity shots off, boom, they're all dead. Whether those planes glide to the ground or they spiral out of control and land on the ground, which, by the way, since you only watched my first part of NBC Revolutions and you didn't watch my second installment on this, you didn't see what I was talking about in the lines of trains, where I was talking about 3 very dangerous chemicals that could actually be busted out of those trains and could cause a lot of contamination. And you didn't see the part where there are thunderstorms periodically over the United States and all over the world, so any airplane that runs into those things are going to spiral out of control and crash, just like they showed in NBC Revolutions. Okay? If there are no storms and there are no wind shears, there's no turbulence, yes, that plane will glide to the ground. But if you hit a storm at any point, remember, there's no more power, so they can't go and try to steer away from the storm. Therefore, it'll head right straight into the storm, spiral out of control, and boom, there you go. Alright. There are roughly 6,000 airplanes in our skies right now over the United States alone. We're not talking about what's in Europe. We're not talking about what's in Asia or any other place. We're talking about just the United States alone. 2,000 of those airplanes are floating over places like Delaware and Maine and Massachusetts and Connecticut and Pennsylvania and that area. The other 4,000 are floating over the other part of the United States. So anywhere between Delaware and Maine, we're going to consider that the 1/3 of the United States, and the other 2/3 we're going to define as anything past Pennsylvania down past Delaware. So anything west of Pennsylvania and south of Delaware is going to be considered the other 2/3 of the United States. So there are 4,000 aircraft flying in that area alone. Power suddenly shuts off. That means 4,000 aircraft are suddenly going to go right into the ground. Remember, the landing gear is no longer going to work because there's no more power. You have no power in that aircraft, you're not going to get that landing gear to open. And so therefore, boom. Now, in the 2/3 of the United States that I just referred to, that's all everything west of Pennsylvania and south of Delaware, they are facing a drought condition, a moderate drought condition between 38% and 59%. Okay? So in some areas, 2/3 of the area in that area is facing a moderate drought. That is enough, people, to start a forest fire. You suddenly have 4,000 aircraft suddenly fly right into the ground, kaboom! There you go, people. You're going to have fires like you wouldn't believe. And 2/3 of the United States is going to be consumed in fires. People will die of smoke inhalation. People will die because they got burnt to death. Remember, there are no GPSs now because all that fire consumed the power is gone. There's no internet. There is no maps. Nothing. Okay. So people are not really even going to know where they are. And all of a sudden, they're going to drive into these fires, and they're going to get burned, or they're going to be smoke annihilated. Either way, bad situation. Some of those airplanes are going to actually hit those trains that I talked about in the second NBC Revolutions video I made. So now you've got toxic gases spreading over large areas. Crops will be burned up. Period. Lots of crops. And considering the fact that we in the United States are the second largest exporter of food, I think you're starting to get the picture here. Now keep in mind, we're talking about the other 2/3 of the United States. We're not talking about the third from Delaware to Pennsylvania all the way up to Maine. Now I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to them. They have 25 nuclear power plants in that little area alone. 25 of them. And I guarantee you there's going to be one airplane hit one of those power plants. I can guarantee that. Probably more. So now you've got nuclear radiation stretching for miles on end because an airplane has smashed into a nuclear power plant. There's a possibility that an airplane could actually fly off course, because remember there's no power, no GPS, no nothing, and smash and either into the White House or Congress or somewhere in Washington, D.C. That'd mess up your government pretty quick. Hit the Federal Reserve, you really got a mess. Alright, so now you got radiation up there. You've got part or maybe all of your government wiped out because airplanes smashed into them. Okay? Now you got a real mess. Now for those choice few who are fortunate to know what they're doing, they can actually go up to Canada. They can go down to Mexico. They might live for a while. But only for a while. The rest of them are going to be burned up. It's that simple. They're either going to get into toxic fumes because airplanes smashed into trains, or they're going to be burned up by smoke inhalation, or just flat out burned up, because there will be no way to control those fires then. None. 4,000 aircraft crashing into the middle of a drought condition? Are you nuts? Not even an Amish could survive that. So that's how millions of people are going to be wiped out. Now keep in mind, anybody with a heart condition or diabetes is going to be dead within a year. No way to get pharmaceuticals. Remember, we may not be the largest exporter of pharmaceuticals, but we have to get a lot of our pharmaceuticals from Ireland and Switzerland. There's no power, so that means that it's all going to have to come by boat, no airplanes. Okay? Remember, all those airplanes have crashed. And since there's no power, there's no way to get the airplanes back up in the air. So, all this is going to have to be shipped by boat. Now, if you want to go back to the colonial era, and check out how long it took a boat to get across the Atlantic Ocean, you can just see how fast heart patients, diabetic patients, they're all going to be dead. Hospitals will become instant morgues. Instant. It won't take more than 60 days. All those dead bodies, are you kidding me? They'll never get them all buried. They'll have to be burned. And if you got kids that are really sick with any kind of disease, they're going to die. Instantly. Alright. So let's say that 3/4 of the United States population is wiped out because of fires, because of toxic chemicals and toxic fumes, because of nuclear radiation. Remember, those spent fuel rods are shipped by train. And when these people go up to these trains, they're not always going to know what's inside them. Okay. So 3/4 of the United States population is wiped out within, say, 60 days. Gone. The few survivors that are going to be left are going to have to face natural disasters that they won't know is coming. earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes. They're not going to know it's coming. It'll just come in and wipe them out. So like I said, America could be wiped out within a year. Now, if the United States is the second leading exporter of food, which it is, how long do you think these other countries are going to last? Europe's going to have to carry the entire burden of the food industry. Now, how long do you think that's going to last? Not very long. And remember, Europe's facing drought too. A few little airplanes set up a whole bunch of forest fires, and they're not going to be the leading exporter of food anymore. Starvation will be massive. Massive, people. And that's what could wipe out your population. Let's just say that the population does manage to survive for a full year. Won't survive 2. And let me tell you something. The United States is the major exporter of food to both Canada and Mexico. So the Canadians will starve, the Mexicans will starve, and they'll all die too. It may not take 1 full year, it may take 2, but the population of the United States will be wiped out because of that scenario. So, who's the retard? You are. And you need to start learning from your computer before the power gets turned off. Like I said, NBC Revolution is just not accurate. And a lot more people are going to die than just those people that are on those airplanes when they go down. So, the only retard is you. Pay attention, listen to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, if NBC Revolution became a real event, within 2 years, possibly just 1, the entire population of the whole world would be wiped out. Gone. Finished. Finito. Whether it be because of pharmaceuticals that they can't get, or because of food that they can't get, it doesn't matter how they all die. They're dead, people. The fires alone in those drought-stricken areas would spread like wildfire and would consume a whole bunch of our nation. The United States would be consumed in a matter of hours. No way to stop it. And you have a few natural disasters, and you're really screwed. So, you're the retard. Alright, I'll tell you more in a future video. Stay tuned.